Happy Wednesday. All right, the training today is all about creating a vision for your health. Those that write and those who journal, those who get their goals on paper are a little bit more accustomed to what I'm even talking about on like what is a vision and why would I actually start to think differently about my health. And so, for so many reasons should we create a vision for what you want to be in all areas of your life. Today we're talking about health though. Without health, we have nothing. Without life, we have nothing. And most people feel like without health, they are not fully able to live, or at least they're not able to live without limits. So I'm going to cover two different things. One, what are the old beliefs that are holding you back? Or maybe you don't even know that they're holding you back. What are those old belief patterns? Most of the time they're from our family. They're how we grew up. There's nothing right or wrong about that. It's the important part is just to be aware of how you think, what you think, and basically debunking the BS, being able to see through it. And number two, we're going to talk about what rewriting that vision actually looks like and what it can do for you. So number one, when we're looking at old beliefs, these are some examples. I would recommend you get your pen and paper out. This is like definitely a something you can dig into. I'm going to be talking for a little bit. So you can, start writing on a piece of paper. Old beliefs. These are a few that I come across probably every day in my practice and hear people talk about. Well, it's happened to my grandma and my mom and my sisters, so it would just kind of be normal that I'm dealing with this, right? Now, that is largely with pain, chronic pain, headaches, migraines, anxiety, depression, and fertility issues, which, let's just look at the issues with women, and those four basically take the cake. So instead of thinking, wow, what would happen if I didn't need to actually live like this? We have lost our solution mindedness, and now we're in a place of like, well, I guess this is what I need to handle. This is the deck of cards I was dealt. Now I got to figure out how to make that work, how to still live, how to still try to be happy, how to be all of those things. Another old belief, if you grew up digging into the medicine cabinet for all of the things, and that could be anything from achy legs to Pepto-Bismol for stomach pain, for any kind of heartburn relief, all of anything that you just quick take something. What if you didn't have to? But if that's all you have and that's all you know, and the symptom actually goes away, you don't know any different. So when we look at old beliefs, it's important to bring up old beliefs so that they can move out. If we're not aware of the old beliefs, we're not going to be able to change them because we don't even know they're happening. And that's what I mean by beliefs in the family. I call it learned genetics, but beliefs that just happen without even thinking about it. You don't even know that anything can change. It's not like you're doing that on purpose. You just think that's how it's supposed to be. You haven't ever talked to anyone who has it any different, or read anything in terms of how maybe to be a little bit more solution-minded in XYZ issue that you're dealing with. So I think bringing up how you think right now is probably the hardest. And I don't mean hardest as in like, oh, it's heartbreaking, it's going to hurt. It's not that, but you just don't even know. So have a piece of paper there and just start writing like, oh, I've kind of thought this is just how it's supposed to be. This is what this person has always said. And the second part of this is now we get to rewrite that version. But the first part doesn't mean that it's all going to come out in 10 minutes. Does that make sense? The time that you allow to percolate and to be aware is probably the most important. So when you write on this piece of paper, all of the old beliefs, you don't even consciously probably know that they may be holding you back. But in a week, something will trigger. You'll be thinking about something, or you're in a situation and you're like, wow, I didn't even realize that this is something that I've dealt with forever. For example, you go on vacation and your safety net may be your medications. And you go on vacation, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I forgot. Da, 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 da. Or maybe you always need to be near a pharmacy, because if that anxiety med runs out, if all of a sudden I have a flare up with my gallbladder, or whatever the case may be, I need to have direct access to that. All of those things just help bring awareness to it. And just remember, none of this work is good or bad. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. It's going into it with some grace. Okay. It's going into it to be like, wow, I don't know. How do I think? How could we change that perspective? If all you know is to be on birth control pill for painful periods all through, and now your daughter is on the pill because she had painful periods, but you've never even thought about what if something else could help so that I don't need to be on this. That's huge, because the realization of like, oh, what would happen if I wouldn't need to do this anymore, or rely on this anymore, or be tired the whole day after sleeping the whole night? Like, what would happen if you'd have some energy in your day to give to your family? What would happen if you didn't have to take a nap every day? What would happen if you didn't need to take Miralax to poop, or your child needs to take Miralax to poop? What would happen if you didn't need to take antibiotics for every strep infection? What would happen if you didn't get strep? Like, is that a thing? Those are all of the things that this is meant for, because we just get used to what our common or what our normal is, right? Like, whatever continues to happen on a recurring basis is our normal, and your normal is different than my normal. And all of that in the world, nation, has become really, really common. It's not normal. So now, when we're looking at the second part of this, of rewriting what that vision looks like, it is researched that when we write things down, we're 42% more likely to achieve them. So write your goals down. Write your vision down. Write it in detail so that you can actually feel it. Because when you can feel that it could happen, it is likely that it will happen. That doesn't mean that that vision might not change. But when you can expand and open yourself up to possibility, like, that's when it all starts to shift for you, because you're aware that it maybe doesn't have to be like what it is right now. So in rewriting that vision, the question to ask yourself is, but what if that isn't me? But what if I don't have to take that medication? But what if I wouldn't be irritated and agitated and crabby and moody every day? But what if I wouldn't have painful periods? What if I could conceive a baby on my own? Whatever your health challenges are. And I totally suggest in health vision to write it out, not just around a challenge. This is all about that, because we're trying to figure out, like, what's the old stuff? How do we be aware of what that old stuff is, release it, and now create a new vision? Because in my practice, working with hundreds of people every single week, the number one thing to shift and to change that just happens magically for a lot of people, like, it well, scientifically, but is mindset. One of the first things I say is, number one, I need you to have hope that this doesn't need to be your current reality forever. And number two, I want you to believe that your body is brilliant and it knows what to do. So as soon as it slips, it's going to slip. Your mindset's going to slip. It's going to be like, oh, here we go again. Same old, you know what, different day. But what if it wasn't? What if this negative thought pattern or mindset right now is just helping me be a little bit more clear and be more aware of where I really wanted to go? Those are the things that will help you create a vision that you're proud of. Create a vision without shackles, without anything holding you back, without limitations. So to recap, number one, write down all those old beliefs that you think, grew up with. And there's a million in health. There's a ton in money. And there's a ton in business. There's all of these old beliefs are affecting your current reality. And number two, how can you rewrite it? Because what if you didn't need to live with the limit that you think is your normal? It's normal to you. But what if it were just common? What if it's not normal? What if you could just let go and say, like, wow, what if it could be like this? And start hanging your jacket on that hook, that hope possibility. The body's brilliant. There are no limits. All of the things that actually happen, because when we start opening ourselves up to that, we're going to find a solution. We're going to be open to solutions. Right now, you're not open to solutions because you think this is just how it's going to be. Until you hit the T in the road and you're like, oh goodness, now the sacrifices in my job and my boss doesn't like it. Now the sacrifices in my marriage and my spouse doesn't like it. Now the sacrifice, you can see where I'm going. When the sacrifice gets big enough, we start to make change. Well, what if we wouldn't have to wait till that point? What if we can just make change, being open to solutions? So let me know if you have questions. This is workshoppy because I love when people do the work. I can help you go through these stages to get there, and then you get to choose what avenue, what direction you want to go to create more solutions, more ease, more life in your life. Because guys, we need more life. And I mean life as in hope, happiness, joy, compassion, strength, power, confidence, self-esteem, all of it. And it's only our responsibility. It's nobody else's responsibility around you. It's yours. So it's time for you to step up and step into, all right, that I'm not comfortable where I'm at. And I don't know how I'm going to get to that area or that place or that base, but I'm going to. I'm not going to settle for where I am right now. I want something more. So I'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, I'm always here. Ask whatever questions you have. And I think that's it for now. Yeah. I am really excited to see where this takes you, because sometimes it's just one thing that can pivot your mindset to start making a different future and start creating a different awareness so that that path starts to be uncovered for you. You know where you're going. So love you all. Have an awesome, awesome Wednesday.